We're live. So, welcome everybody to the September 22nd, 2025 public hearing regarding the special service levy. Just want to start off by acknowledging we're meeting tonight on Treaty 5 territory, which is the traditional lands of our good friends and neighbors, the Opaskwayak Cree Nation, as well as many other Indigenous people, and as well as the homeland of the Red River Métis. So with that, I'll call the meeting to order. Somebody should have a resolution to adopt the agenda as presented.
Myself, so for Councillor Atkinson, so that the agenda be adopted as presented.
Any additions to the agenda? Seeing none, call the questions. All in favor? Only is a spot. Okay, so I'm just gonna let everybody know this purpose of this meeting tonight is around to hear any representation from the public regarding the proposed RCMP public service levy. We're gonna quickly go through the presentation that was handed out multiple times and reviewed multiple times, and it's all also online. And then what we will do is we will then move forward with the first reading of the special service levy bylaw. Require a vote, and we'll have answers and question period, and we'll highlight. So tonight is not the final. This is just the first reading to get it on the table to be discussed. So as soon as that's going. And as I mentioned, if people have seen this, it's been recorded live multiple times.
Yes.
We're just gonna pop it up on the screen. So there's some handouts here if anybody wants to see it. So again, this is really just the presentation just shows how it works, why it's being introduced, and how the costs are distributed. And as I mentioned, we will then do a first reading of the special service levy. On the next slide, you'll see that the RCMP cost is really just highlighting is that in 2025, the RCMP cost was $3.2 million. And just as a note, that's not what would be the cost of RCMP if we had a full complement of officers. If we had a full complement of officers, it would be around $3.8 or $3.9 million. And that's where we were originally discussing. But based on the fact that recruitment challenges, that we figured that we would go to what's actually happening and try to project that way. Next page. So I'm not going to read all these words, but council had spoke about this for many hours. We believe that's a fair and transparent way and predictable way way of funding policing, and also to hopefully entice some residential growth, both in new builds and upgrades. So today, for most people understand this taxation, how RCMP costs are covered are through general taxation. So that's through through the assessment branch based on, it goes into a pool with all the other expenses within the community, and everybody pays their portion based on their assessed value of their land. So a higher assessed home would pay more, a lower assessed home would pay less. What they discussed is that the eligible properties, we felt that would be better is that to align the costs and benefits while supporting the growth and potentially some new development. Again, this is about services. Everybody's sort of paying the same for the services they equally receive. So next page. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on teaching how municipal taxation is made, but just quickly, if you look up at that chart, if you take the presentation with you, you can go onto the assessment branch and you can determine what your taxes are annually based on the mill rate that's generated from the community. So the mill rate's based on the fact that we take all the expenses that we need, and then we take the value of our community based on the assessed value. And then we generate a mill rate through that way by dividing it by 1,000. Next page. So again, what we said is that reduces, what we believe is we're reducing the ability right now, the way it's done, to attract individuals and family and building or developing more single family houses. It does discourage some property improvements based on the fact that if you are going to add a garage or something permanent structure to your home, that your property assessed value would go up, so you would pay more taxes. So it sort of lessens the burden there. And it removes the concentration of the tax burden on higher assessed homes. Next page. So what it is so a special service levy is a municipal tax tool that's authorized by the provincial legislation. It's used in many other municipalities. And what it allows the municipality to do is to apply fixed charge to designated properties for specific services. So again, I talked is about contributing, sharing the price, sharing the cost or the expense equally amongst the properties that you determine. And one thing that people have to realize is the special service levy is not a new tax. So this is not increasing the taxation in the general tax world. So if for an example, if the municipality is their total tax that they collect is $10 million, after the special service levy, it is still $10 million. All it does is it takes a portion of the $10 million and deals it with it differently and how it distributes the cost. Next page. So how, if you look at the formula that changes now, is that you can see that the residential property taxes is still the same, but now you get an additional, what it says, special service levy. And that special service levy is made up by the fact that there's a new, if you look at where it shows in green, your overall taxation has actually dropped. Your general assessment value is dropped by 42.610. So that's what you would apply to your general assessment. And now the special service levy is actually a flat fee of $1,000. So what it does is every resident or every property that would be designated as part of the special service levy would pay $1,000. So if your taxes were $100 a year, your taxes now would be $1,156. So if you go to the next page, then this sort of where it lays out is, so if you look at the arrow on the side, you're going to see 53% of people within the community are going to see an increase in their taxes, and 47 properties will see a reduced tax burden. But you have to look for the tipping point. So the tipping point's around if your property is at $155,000, you would see if your assessed value was higher than that, you're going to see a lower tax burden. So you're going to get a tax decrease. And you have a house that's assessed at a lower value than 155, you're going to start seeing a tax increase. And you got to keep in mind that when you're around that point, there's many homes that are in those areas that the majority of you're not seeing thousands of dollars in changes. You're going to see changes in the hundreds of dollars. And for an example, if you had a home that was assessed at $50,000, your increase in your property tax would be $717. If you had a home that's worth $200,000 or say $300,000 on the top of the scale, then you're going to see a decrease in your property taxes by $979 estimate. So again, we're based on the best information we have available. Next page, right? So just as a comparison, as I mentioned, many other communities actually have special service levies for all sorts of different things. As you can see, Flin Flon and Swan River, etc. But the difference with us is that we're only using RCMP costs, and our RCMP costs are significantly higher than Flin Flon and Swan River. Not so much of not so much of Thompson. So what special service levies allow you to do is take certain expenses that the municipality has and distribute them amongst all the properties equally, or all the tax rolls equally. So for an example, water main breaks is what they did in Thompson. If you look in Flin Flon, they have snow removal, recreation, snow removal, dust control. So there's a lot of other, there's other things you can do. So on top of that, yeah, so then just to move to the next slide. So as I mentioned earlier, so today is just the first reading of the special service levy. So, and after today, what happens, the process is that, the council will likely, pass the first reading tonight. Then the municipality or the residents that are impacted have 14 days to provide a written objection. It's important to know, that this written objection has to state, the person's objection to, a statement of the person's objection to the proposed bylaw, the name and address of that person, the identification of your land and with respect at so what you're objecting on what property, and your person's signature. Our municipal office can collect those for you. I know, my friend, Mr. Yankee had mentioned that if you want a verification that it's actually been collected, they can stamp it and copy it for you and give you a copy back. And then so what happens after that 25 days is on the 6th of October, the ejection period will end. If we don't get more than 25 days, or if the objection period ends on October 6th, at that time, what we will do is we'll submit if there's no objections or less than 25, we'll submit the special service levy to the municipal Department of Municipal Services, and they will review the special service levy to ensure that it meets all the criteria. If it becomes approved, it comes back to council, and council then has to then bring the second and third readings and then have voted through as council as a new bylaw. As I mentioned, if there's more than 25 or more objections, the council doesn't take it to the next phase. It's just submitted to the municipal board and they will make a ruling on it and send it back to us, whether we're valid or not. So
The municipal board will come to town and have a hearing.
yeah.
So we give when it comes to that. Well, the next step, as Mayor was saying, if there's 25, that goes to the municipal board, they come to town, they'll advertise when they're gonna come, they'll have a hearing, same as the council meeting.
Yeah.
They'll tell you where it's gonna be, the time, and they'll hear your representation, and they'll see what council wanted to do. They'll make a decision, probably not on that day, but they'll make a decision, and that decision is binding.
Okay, so that's that. That's sort of the long and short of the process. As I mentioned, we are at our first reading, so somebody should have a resolution for that first reading.
Moved by myself, second by Councillor Atkins, the result of bylaw number 4664 being a bylaw of the town of Law to establish RCP special service levy be read the first time.
Call the question, all in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, I will open it up to questions and answers from the floor. Once you come up, if you have something to say, or you would want to mention something, feel free to just state your name and your address so we can capture it for the record.
And again, this is not your only opportunity for.
Yeah.
No, Stan Madden, I'm from Bob, got a couple of rental units here in town. And what you're showing me here, you're discouraging people to own property in town. I'm understanding that this extra cost is levy is for RCMP services, am I correct?
Mhm.
Okay. Which one of you guys can tell me, what kind of services are we being provided for by the RCMP? I would really like to know that. We see how many buildings burnt, demolished, people drinking on the street, pissing on the sidewalk, crapping on the sidewalk. What's being done? But RCMP, are they picking up these people? Are they charging them? We've got security in town. What are they doing for us? We're paying this extra levies, extra taxes for one.
Mhm.
It's really upsetting. What we're doing is we're chasing people away from this town. We really are. How many people, now, I hope there's somebody in here that can answer the question. How many people do we have on the RCMP force that are sitting in an office position because they're unable to perform the duties of the RCMP out in the street? How many?
I
Can
can,
anybody answer?
I don't know if there's somebody on administrative leave or for a health reason or something like that, we don't have that information. We know how many members there are. And when somebody is on leave like that, they're bringing retired members in from other communities to fill those gaps. So right now, I think we have 15 active members and 15 active members. And your comments are echoed by everybody that's sitting here. And it's not what the RCMP are doing or not doing. We have the community safety officers. We have 3. Were you at the meeting last week when we were talking about what community safety? Talking about the people on the street, talking about the burnt buildings, talking about areas of poor lighting, talking about areas where people sit and drink and do whatever and what's happening to them. We're not sitting on our hands now. We are being active. Simple thing like the community safety officers going around town and finding people drinking. I think last month they confronted them, dumped out like 110 bottles on them. We're trying to discourage them, the individuals that are on the street, from being in town. We have problems with Oscar's Place. We know that. When that started up or it was rehandled over, there was going to be a lot of wraparound services, mental health and all of that. That has fallen short. We're trying to pressure the government from that. We don't like the situation the way it is. We're trying to clean it up. We don't want to chase people away from town. Well, I should rephrase that. Some people don't want to chase away from town, but those people are here and there's all sorts of reasons why they're here. And it's not necessarily that they're homeless, there's mental health issues, there's addictions and all of that. And we are no different. You tell me, give me a community in Canada that doesn't have homeless issues and people out on the street. Maybe Cranberry, I'm thinking of this, but talk about a middle-sized community. Thompson's far worse than this. Swan River, we all have the same problem, and money is not going to solve all the issues, but we need resources, and the town can't go out and hire mental health clinics. That has to be the province. So everything you talked about, there is not one thing there we have identified as an issue and are trying to rectify.
So when are we gonna see some results? Instead of our taxes going up here,
Taxes didn't go up last year.
okay, 2 years ago.
yeah, well, no, it's actually, you're absolutely right, Stan, and I get your frustration because we're frustrated as well. Like, and it's okay to be frustrated about this because it's not okay. It's not okay that our community feels unsafe. You're absolutely right. What I can tell you though, is that we are doing a lot of things. We do have, we just wrapped up the community safety wellbeing plan that we hope to be able to share with the community that has some real actionable items. We actually are working with all sorts of partners to make sure that the people that are on the streets are getting the supports and being able to go home and not cause all the grief. We just invested in the community safety officers, which is a 200,000 plus, which is one of the reasons why you've seen your taxes go up. There's about a $200,000 off the top of my head investment in the community that has 3 people on the street doing 200 plus interactions, dumping out alcohol, 30 or 40 intoxicated persons detention acts per month. Like, we are doing everything we can. It's not an easy fix. There's a lot of other issues that we don't have control over. But what we're talking about tonight is the cost of that. And we're not asking you to give us more money. We're saying the money that we have collected today, we want to distribute it differently. That's what a special service levy is.
The only thing my question wasn't answered, how many RCMP do we have on desk duty? I don't know.
I can tell you right now, if you stick around for the next meeting,
Find out.
I'll tell you, because that's in our next council meeting, but give me 1 second and I'll look it up. Because we do report that on a regular basis. And off the top of my head, I wanna say we're 5 short, there's 2 on, the other 2 are on maybe mat or other medical leaves.
Maternity, I can understand, but there's other reasons that I'm asking the question.
Well, I mean, this is the
You're
information.
smiling, you know what that.
But this is but again, you keep in mind, we don't manage their HR department. But we only pay the services that they're actually applied to us. If somebody is away for a long time or on a different assignment, that gets backed out of the invoice that comes to us. But I'll tell you right now, if I can just find it, if you can bear with me 1 second. Yeah, I just need that top part. Right now, we have 5 hard vacancies, which means that there's people not in town, that they're looking to recruit, and there's 4 people on soft vacancies. So soft vacancies are based on the fact that could be all sorts of reasons, maternity leave, health leaves, parental leaves, whatever it happens to be. But keep in mind, when those people are off, some of them we're not paying for, and they are backfilled by officers from other communities. So there's officers from other communities coming in here as Sergeant Stark mentioned at our community safety meeting last week, filling in those holes.
It's nice to see the vacancies filled, Andre.
Yeah,
Very nice.
yeah,
We need them.
no, I agree.
But if you got 4 sitting behind an office desk, because of whatever reason, they should be put on long-term disability or compensation or whatever.
I don't know that
Those are
Yeah.
things that are basically out of our control. Those are,
But we're paying the wages, huh? We don't have to say.
as Mayor just said, some of those were not paid the wages.
no, they're backed up. We don't pay for them if they're on a long-term disability or a paternity leave or a maternity leave.
But if they're sitting behind an office desk, we're paying them. That's what I'm saying.
I can't tell you, but you know what? I'll find that out and I'll actually report it, not this meeting, the next meeting. If you guys watch online, we'll take it as a takeaway, because I don't know 100%.
It's just, it's upsetting you guys, you know, like there's things that the town should be doing. And I put things on Facebook. Number 1, Oscar's place should be maybe moved to Egg Lake. Can I go there with it? Can I say what I want to say?
If you have suggestions, by all means, and
That's why
they should never have closed it.
okay, our liquor store.
So just can I give you a little bit of information, Legion? So when it comes to Egg Lake, I know Pastoral Cremation has actually got an initiative to actually move and have a healing center at Egg Lake. So that might be down the road. There might be some supports there.
Shouldn't have investment. Second issue. Liquor store, move it to Wallace or Overflow. If I want a bottle of whiskey, I'll drive down there.
Don't disagree with you, and I think that the municipality can have some, the municipality does have some control over business hour operations.
Make it
And so
a booze-free community.
I would expect, well, I don't know if that can happen, but I think we'll have a bigger room than this.
The crowd's turning against you.
So,
Public lynchings are out of date.
Hardly.
Public lynchings are out of date.
Anyway, that would be the second thing. Third thing, put the RCMP, if you could move the liquor store away from town and get this goddamn
doing everything possible in our powers to move it, to make it better. And it's not, if it was simple, I'm telling you, it would have been done a long time ago. Would have been done when Gary was mayor.
Okay, well, that's it for me. Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot. Anybody else have any?
Oh, yeah, just a quick question. Carrie Huckluck, the paw. You said that you were estimating $1,000 for the special levy, and that's with the shortfall in the number of police officers. If by some miracle we got a full slate, have you calculated what that number would then go to?
With that, so here's how it works. So if the number, say, next year, when you look at that, the estimate in the bylaw, whatever it happens to be, I can't remember now, but if it came to be, there was $200,000 or $300,000 short, that would just get applied to general assessment. So once this, so you keep in mind, this is for 3 years, it's locked in. What we agree to is what we agree to. If those numbers change anyway, nothing changes in the special service levy. And then in 3 years from now, you would revisit the special service levy. So what I'm saying is no, nothing changes. The extra money, if you needed 3.2, next year you budgeted 3.4, which is a 3% increase or whatever it is, 3.3. And say it was actually, the bill was 3.7. So that $400,000 difference would just go to general taxation.
So our tax would go up, right? But you don't know.
No, yeah, just like they're gonna go up because it's an
I
expense.
think you said it would be 3.8 million if we had a full.
Yeah.
slate of officers. So you don't know how much that would affect our general taxes then?
Well, about every $200,000, if you want, like ours is like 212,000, but a round number, about every $200,000 is about 1 mil rate. So if you increase by 200,000, the general taxation mill rate would increase by 1. If it was 400,000, it would increase by 2. So that multiplier in that formula would be changing. But the special service levy rate wouldn't change.
Oh.
Yep.
Okay, Shelley Darvin, I'm a homeowner on First Street. If I understand correctly, what you're proposing is to take the total policing costs out of the mill rate calculation and implement a special services levy to cover the policing costs. The levy would be, well, the information that you gave, 1,050.34 per residential tax roll. How much would the special levy be per residential tax roll if you use the current 2025 mill rate, which includes the policing costs, and use the special levy to cover the shortfall? Have you figured that out?
I'm not sure I understand. So say that again.
Okay, you've dropped the mill, the proposal is you're dropping the mill rate.
The general mill rate, yeah.
Because you're taking the
Yeah.
police costs out of that,
Yeah.
right? Okay, so what if you left the mill rate the same as it currently is and use the special levy for the shortfall?
Yeah, so how it works is that, I should just pull up that, so when you look at the mill rate and the number they use for, maybe can you pull that slide back up? If you take the general mill rate without a special service levy, I believe it's 57.687, that's your general mill rate.
Right.
And that covers the entire cost with everything in. If you back out the 3.2 or the $1.7 million, because you remember the RCMP cost is 3.2.
Right.
And out of that 3.2, you apply the units that have businesses, so commercial stays the same, it's still based on an assessed value. Apartment buildings are still the same, and anything that's a 3-unit or more remains the same taxation way they're taxed today.
Mhm.
So nothing changes. So you collect a certain amount of dollars for that, right?
Right.
So then you have the 3.2, you back out what you collect on commercial and apartments and all that. And I think you're left with $1.7 million. From that 1.7 million or 1.7 million, I better get my numbers straight here. I don't have the thought. So anyways, with the stuff that's left over, what you're doing is you're taking all the other roll numbers that are left, all the residents, I think there was around 800 or 800 and some. And you divide it into that total value, and that's where you get that flat fee.
Okay, but I understand the flat fee, but what I'm getting at is, right now today, our policing costs are included in the mill rate,
Yeah.
right? So aren't you guys with the special levy? Does that include all of the policing costs or just a portion thereof?
No, the special levy includes the entire portion minus the special service levy is for the entire portion of the RCMP cost.
Yeah,
But
but
what-
what I'm saying, if you left the mill rate, what it is that includes.
At 57,
Yes, at 57, the current policing cost, and if you have a shortfall, have a special levy.
oh, a shortfall if we need more money than that?
Right, if you didn't budget properly or something.
Yeah, well, there's already municipal rules that we have to do that, so we actually have to recover that.
My concern is the redistribution of taxes on,
Mhm.
lower value properties, and I don't think that's fair. They're assessed at a certain amount for a reason. You know,
Yeah.
some properties, if you wanted to, you can't, higher the value. You don't have the room on your property to put a garage or something, you know, I just don't. This reminds me of Trump economics, to tell you the truth.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure what I would say this is Trump economics, but
No,
Another tariff, that's what it is.
no,
No.
the tariffs, it's taking from one class sort of,
I
and,
know.
you know,
Guess, or we started off with this, but we tried to look at what is fair, what's not fair about this? Well, having everybody has access to RCP costs or service, what's not fair about everybody paying the same amount, regardless of where you live or what you live in? What's not fair about that?
well, some places don't get the same service, like how many places make multiple calls and stuff like that?
And places that do that in town, we're billing them for it.
And the thing is, if you call them on an issue, they might come, but all you get is a number.
Yeah, they'll prioritize it, but I
And
mean,
that's it. You
but
don't
back to
hear
my-
about anything.
but to my question, what's not fair about, I know it's, if you're lower assessed home, you're gonna have to pay no more, but what's not fair about the premise about everybody paying the same for the same service? Say we're doing garbage pickup, if everybody got garbage pickup, we charge everybody the same, that would be fair. RCMP costs, everybody gets the same service if they need it. That was kind of the reason we're doing, one of the reasons we're doing this. When Mayor mentioned others, but that's kind of called the baseline. It's a fair tax. Unless you know, no, it's not fair, other than somebody that has a lowly assessed home. But we don't know the conditions, why they are in a lower assessed home. Are they retired, big pension, that's all they want, they want a big home?
Exactly.
But we
It's
have,
life.
and we know there's people in town that have higher assessed homes, high value homes that are struggling too. So we said, everybody pay the same amount. That would be fair.
But you're increasing 53% of the residents,
But
47% are getting a break.
yeah, but some are only going up, maybe $50, some are going up quite a bit more. And
You're right there.
Yeah.
Gary, if you sat on this side of the fence, would you be speaking the same? No, you wouldn't. I've known you a long time.
it depends on your assessment. Like, you're like, not picking on you or you're not picking on me, but your home's assessed for X dollars. Would you sell it for that? Probably not. You'd get a lot more for it. So I would say your house is under assessed.
Why was my home assessed at that rate?
Well, that's the thing. The
So, come on, let's keep going. You wanna go, let's keep going.
why
I
is
need to
it?
buy my own water, my sewer,
Yeah,
I got an increase on my fire insurance.
no, I understand.
Keep talking, I like.
The assessment branch goes to assess every 3 years, all properties. Herbal and lightless herb.
So, thank you, Herb Jakes. So. I completely understand the dilemma council's facing. Policing costs are atrocious, they're ridiculous, they're out of control. But the issue isn't on how our people are paying the bill. One of the problems with what I see, so if Gary's taxes go up $100, mine go down $100, the overall increase is zero. Right? But Gary's went up $100. So for Gary, that's a very real cost. I've had quite a few people in the Bagshaw Reader area of the community ask me this question about their taxes over the last few weeks. So I started looking into it pretty closely. And it isn't $50, Gary. A lot of people on the Bagshaw Reader area, there's one gentleman going up 75%. And he has a modest home, right? But that's not his fault. He just has a modest home. You know, and the 75%, there's people going up $500, $600, $785. You know, the general spirit of the community many times is pretty low. So what's going to happen over there? And it's, and near as I can tell, it's about a 2-to-1 ratio. And don't hang me if I'm completely off. But for every one person that sees a decrease in their property taxes, 2 people are going up. So generally what's happened is the people over on Bagshaw and Reader are supporting the tax deduction of the people over on Cutmore and Fishman and everywhere else. Is that right or is that wrong? I'm not really sure. In Canada, we have what's known as a progressive taxation system. Those who can pay more, pay more. The definition of a regressive tax system is this bylaw. Because those who can't pay more are going to be asked to pay more. And that's morally and ethically wrong. As Canadians, we can do better. The real question needs to be of the RCMP and the federal government and the province, whoever's negotiating this ridiculous policing agreement. Those are the ones who we should be going after,
And we are.
not our residents.
I'm sure you did that when you were the mayor.
Yes.
I did it. We're
I
doing
get
it
that.
now.
But that
And
doesn't mean that we now have the right to hook up this horse or this cart to these people. That's just not fair. Additionally, the comparisons to Flin Flon, Swan River, Thompson, and Pop special service levy, I would dare say that the special service levy worked in reverse in Flin Flon. Flin Flon now has over 200 homes in their inventory that they're trying to sell for $1. Let me rephrase it, not just homes, lots. And most of those were acquired in tax sale. Because people thought, this is getting out of control, we might as well just give it back. So now the city of Flin Flon has over 200 properties for them. They're the single biggest landholder in the community. And there's no construction going on. In Flin Flon. There's one new house, I think, over on Hill Street or a half mile that's going up, and that might be it. Prior to that, I think the last new home was about 3 years ago due to a fire. So it's not spurring any activity. And Thompson, I think, pretty much peaked out a few years ago. There's not much going on in Thompson. Where Swan River, I don't get to very much, so I can't say. But I don't think it's going to spur activity. I think it's going to do the reverse. You know, as community leaders, part of our role is to try to increase community spirit. And this is going to hurt community spirit. And people are already glum. And I'm opposed to it because of what it's going to do to the lowest end of our population. And I don't think that's fair. And it isn't a question, is it fair that you pay the same as I? You know, that's like listening to Alberta talking about we all should pay 20% income tax. Well, yeah, we can have that debate all day long. That's a philosophical argument. This is pragmatic. And for people to have to pay $600 and $700 and $800 a year more. And don't forget, over the last 25 or 30 years, all those neighborhoods contributed to the debenture debt that we issued as municipal leaders. They all paid for the rate, they all paid for the roads, they all helped with all of that. And now here we're basically giving them nothing except the bill. That's not right. Anyways.
So I'll bring up something, is the economic development officer, how many businesses have been lost in the last 20 years?
Well, I'm sorry, we've never talked. But I guess the question becomes, how many businesses have you approached to come to this community in the last 3 years?
So a lot, over the last number of years.
Because you and I have never talked once.
We've had a few.
We've never spoken.
but a few, like, a large portion of business tax, what they're paying goes into the general budget. So we've lost a lot of businesses over the years, which our tax situation now with the mill rate has gone up every few years since then, is because then the tax burden gets put on the residents. So this is just one model to sort of levy out the resident portion. We're also looking at other tax systems to put in place to encourage businesses, to encourage development. That will then even out. So even if we do this one for the residences and a number of the lots that are privately owned and vacant, because we don't have control over that. If those were to get developed and houses, it would actually balance out over the next 5 years.
This sounds like an explanation of why tariffs work.
Just 1 second there,
You're right, I have a comment.
Rian,
That the only way you're gonna develop or get people to build more houses in this town, is to develop some businesses that brings money to town. Taxing and this stuff ain't gonna make development happen, like people building homes. You need money to build homes, as everybody knows today, building costs are up. And taxes are not gonna drive that. The only thing that's gonna drive it is bringing business to town that pays wages for people to build.
Yep.
Otherwise, there ain't gonna be anything built in this town. Matter of fact, you're gonna see people leaving town.
Yep. And I can tell you, we're not, this is not a community development corporation meeting, but I can tell you, being part of that group, there's tens, 20s, 30s, 40s of businesses contacted over the last number of years to try to encourage development in the community. And it is it's tough to get them to the start line. As of even today, there's businesses that we believe are coming. And that's the message that we get, including we can't share information around the downtown mall, but we've been promised that there will be something happening in there by April. But we can't announce anything.
No, I understand that, but
So I do agree with you that we do need to drive businesses. And I would say that we have there is a lot of work being done. But it's just, they're not coming.
But I mean, all I'm saying is to hide this tax thing behind trying to get more people out. That ain't gonna happen.
I'm not,
With
so,
this change with the
yeah,
tax.
so but by no means am I saying that this is gonna drive business. What I do believe, and I would agree with my friend, former Mayor Jiggs, is that the assessment of our community is there's a lot of big errors in it. And we shouldn't have business or homes assessed at $27,000. Because I can tell you those same homes are getting turned around and sold, and I know assessed value and what it's worth is different. But when you turn around and sell a home that's assessed at $29,000 for $180,000, there's over $140,000, there's a problem. And you can look on the if you go into Manitoba assessments, you can kind of see the properties and the assessed value. I think that our slope, and I've said this many times, our slope of assessment is like this, with the highest value up here, the lowest value here. These are the number of houses. If we can just move this, a lot of things would change and it'd be a lot less impact. I know we talked, we're coming close to the end, we've got 15 minutes left. I know we talked about fairness and I guess we'll disagree or we'll agree to disagree on what we all believe is fair or not. But there is also an impact on, and we've heard it, where people don't build houses in the new subdivisions or on the new lots because the taxes are gonna be too high when they're done.
I think the initial cost of building is what is stopping people.
We've had developers tell us that they wanted to build a house. And the cost down the road, even with the incentives that we're providing. Whether it's right or wrong, you can believe me or not. I'm not trying to convince you, I'm just telling you what I've been told. So we hope that down the road that this change, again, it goes through the proper vetting processes. And if it's incorrect, as it's applied in many other municipalities, if it's incorrect, that's fine. If our community members don't want it, we won't do it. But I know if we thought it was just who's it impacting and who's it not, and we only looked at the tipping point, of course, we wouldn't change it. But we don't think that's the only part of this. We believe it's the right thing to do.
My thought is that instead of a redistribution of taxes, you may end up with a redistribution of people leaving town.
Yeah, I mean, I hope not, but I don't think so. I would disagree.
Okay, I'm Brian Campbell, I got a property on my. The only problem is the idea that it's gonna make it equal for everyone. But if everybody is this, and we take out the commercial buildings, and we take out the schools, we take out the churches, and we take out the apartment buildings, we take out anything that's over 3 buildings or 3 residences, you're left with a little square, which is our residential buildings. And for that little square, you're saying it's gonna make it more equal. Well, I guess for some, but at the end of the day, the people who can afford the bigger houses and are living in the bigger houses are gonna pay less. The ones that are living at the bottom that can't afford the bigger houses are gonna pay more. So it's not really an equal distribution for everybody in town, because everybody in town gets the policing service. Now, I attended your safety meeting, you're right, there's a whole lot of information that not everybody's aware of. Police are doing what they can. The problem with our policing is that we signed an agreement 10 years ago when Lachlan was the mayor, and that council agreed to it, and they literally signed it. And I asked the question at the time, does this mean they can charge us anything they want? And they said, that's how it works, and we're gonna sign it, and they did it. So there's nothing we can do about that for 10 more years until it comes up.
Yeah, and just as a note on that though, Mr. Campbell, there is an actual review of the municipal policing contracts that's going on. I know the work that the previous council done and this council has done and putting together lobbying efforts with the Association of Manitoba Municipalities, that this is in the forefront of the federal table now about how they need to upgrade and update how municipal contracts are made, because how it's distributed today is not right. And so, you know, so there is some work. Yeah, there is some work.
There is the other problem too, that we're just over the 5,000 mark.
Yeah.
That means that we pay 75% of the policing costs, feds pay 25, if it was under 5,000, it reverses, we only pay 25. So there's a small problem there, unless that's changed in the last 2 years.
Some municipalities play 0.
Yeah, so that's my only concern, is that this doesn't affect everybody. So a commercial building uptown, a business has more of an opportunity to call the police. If you have 20 people in your apartment block, there's more of an opportunity to call the police, but those aren't included in this structure.
Yeah.
This is only for the residences, like there's only about 1,600
Yeah.
houses that we're talking about. And it's just a redistribution among only the people who own houses. And I don't think that that's fair.
So
Like,
one.
my mom's at the top of it, she pays $6,000.
Yeah, so one thing, just to bring some clarity there, when we talk about apartment buildings and commercial, and if you include them in a special service levy, it's actually worse for
Oh, yeah,
residents.
definitely,
Because their assessed values are higher and there's then bigger decreases. And that's why they were moved out of the special
Yeah.
service levy, so to have less of an impact on the residents, the rest that are paying. On top of that, we are working right now, that's sitting in council's agenda, to come up with other tax incentives, for businesses to grow, like tax incremented financing programs. So if somebody has a vacant lot, they can sort of get a tax break that is not a municipal impact. That does not.
Yeah, I watched council for probably 20 years, but I've seen 5 councils go through, so I've seen a lot of these things happen. They had a 4-year plan for a radiated tax break if you're building 4-plex.
Yeah, we
Those
still.
are tools, but my only concern is that we're not talking about everybody in town. We're just talking about just the people living in houses, and we're gonna go after them, and I understand it, that you guys are limited to the municipal act, there's very little you guys can really do. But I don't think this is the right way to do it. And as Herb has said, you know, we're gonna punish 50, well, according to your numbers, 53% of the people are gonna get punished and 47 are gonna make the break. Well, that's great if you like, say, 2 properties at the lake or you're on one of the higher end houses, that's gonna help you. My mother, it will help her. But she understands when she got her house that it's gonna be taxed high because it's a big house with a big garage. So I don't think it's gonna create any new buildings because any house you build is gonna have to be worth 300,000. There's a whole bunch of structure on that. And then you're gonna be taxed over $5,000. So just say 500 or 600 bucks isn't gonna spur you to build a big house, but all the people at the bottom, it's gonna be tough for them to afford it. And there's reasons they live in a little trailer or something like my trailers. It's not gonna be worth much more. It's gonna be worth 100 when I'm done, but it's not worth very much right now. But I'll see a $700 increase on that while I'm working on it. But it's fine, but it's not fair to everybody in town. That's my concern.
I would just make one clarification, Owen, and I think it's important to know is that where you live has no reflection. It's not always directly associated to how much money you have or how well off you are.
But this
How you can afford to live. Some people choose to live in a bigger home, and don't go to Mexico every year and don't have a second place at the lake.
Yeah, but that doesn't make it fair.
No.
It's like.
Again, so, but you made the comment that people in the lower valued homes don't have. This is how somebody is in a higher value.
Well, there's reasons for that. Like you said, it was equal. I heard Gary say, you know, this is gonna make it fair for everyone. It's not everybody we're talking about.
No, I mean, I agree.
You know, if it was extended to commercial and apartment blocks and it was literally everybody in town, hey, I back you on that, doesn't work.
Huh?
But it's not gonna be fair to everybody, just to the people who own houses. And it's gonna unfairly punish over half the people, make them pay more, so that the people with the really big houses can pay less. So like I say, I got skin in the game. My mom, she pays huge taxes. She's working at age 70 plus, just so she can pay the taxes and still stay in her house. So that's what she has to do, and saving her 500 bucks isn't gonna make much difference in her world.
No.
But it's gonna make a big difference to people on Buzz and Bagshaw and Kerr, you know, all these places with the little properties. It's gonna impact them partially. So I think we should consider the people that you're looking after in town first, and we'll worry about the ones that might be coming. And to the credit of the railroad station, apparently we're gonna be using Churchill at some point, and we're ground zero.
Yeah.
So we've got a great opportunity for things to start growing in town. But the taxation, like you mentioned, is huge. It's hard to build a house when you're already paying 5,000 plus.
Yeah.
You know, so anyway, that's just.
I appreciate that, Brian.
I'd rather see it fair for everybody in the community.
So we got 5 minutes left. If I don't see anybody else, I will thank everybody for providing your feedback. I know that it's not gonna be popular at times, but this is part of the process. We want to listen to you. As Councillor Hopper has said, we get 5 or 25 objections. It goes to the municipal board. There'll be another hearing for you to provide an opportunity to share your concerns again. And then we'll go from there.
Just one question. We did this a few months back. You guys brought the first idea of this forward, and we always received 25 complaints. It didn't go any further than that.
We voted it.
Council deciding to revisit it.
Relook at it, yeah.
Okay, and that's still something that you guys can do after the first reading?
Yes, we could, yes. Yeah.
I just got one other comment, Andre. Lived in this town for 54 years. Never called on the RCMP for anything. And I have a problem paying more for their costs. We gotta find a system that's gonna work, that we can go after the people that are using the RCMP.
Yeah.
We have to.
Yeah.
This is bullshit.
We don't disagree with you.
That's all I gotta say.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Just if I could just make a comment on Yuha's comment about bringing more business to town. This has got nothing to do with this meeting, but somewhere down in the future, we're gonna try and rezone part of Devon Park for commercial, for business to come to town. So I look forward to everybody coming out and supporting them. Not like last time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Everybody okay to adjourn? Yeah, sure. Thanks for coming, guys.
Right.